Hello, everyone, and welcome to Check It Out. I'm so excited to be here with you all, and I want to extend a heartfelt welcome. You could have been anywhere else today doing your own thing, but you decided to take time out of your schedules to come and learn more about our program. So, thank you and welcome to Check It Out. I am Marita, your host for today. And as always, I'm excited to talk to you all about everything Bitwise. Today, the reason why you, of course, are here and on this line is because you want to learn more about our Bitwise program. You want to hear about some of our student experiences, but most importantly, you want to be able to make a decision about whether this program is the right fit for you. And I honestly think that it is. So excited to jump on in and provide you all with that wonderful information. But before we jump into all the details and bring out some wonderful individuals to come and talk to you all about their experiences, we first kind of want to run you through the environment that you're in. That way, you, of course, can take advantage of everything. So, first and foremost, understanding the layout of the platform that you're on. To your right hand side, you will see the chat. You can, of course, place any information in there. If you have not, please drop the city that you're in and that you're representing. So if you can, and if you have not already, please feel free to in the chat drop where you are coming in from. We're super excited, of course, to see you. In addition to that, you'll see on your right hand side the chat. You'll see a Q&A section, of course, at the top, which you can click on. This will be for later on, but we're going to take some time out to, of course, answer any questions that you have. And then, of course, you can see all those individuals who are located here and some polling questions, which we'll ask a little bit later on in our program in order to get a better understanding of who you are and how we can provide you with the best services to take you to that next step of what you need. So excited to see you all here today. Also, don't forget that up top, you'll also see a link for Bitwise that will allow you to have access to go to our website to learn more about our program. So once again, on your right-hand side, of course, you'll see your chat. And then, of course, up top, you'll see an opportunity for you to see the link towards Bitwise in order to go to visit our site and find out more information about our program outside of this event. So if that is all, of course, once again, always great to see each and every one of you and super excited, of course, to have you all here. The purpose of our program today is really just educate you about all things Bitwise and really what we're all about. In a nutshell, we're about being able to connect underrepresented individuals with opportunities, with resources, with the connections that they need in order to enter into the tech field. And the most important thing for us is making sure that you have all of the support that you need in order to come into our program. So just giving you a little bit more information in case you don't understand how it all works out. At Bitwise, we offer what we like to define as sort of our evening pre-apprenticeship courses. We offer a total of 4 of those courses, and they're all about front-end web development, making sure that you understand how to develop a website, whether it be through HTML or CSS or JavaScript, but really getting a robust experience into creating websites in order to be able to have the best utility and interaction with clients. And so you'll get the opportunity to be exposed to this wonderful education. This comes in the form of those 4 courses, as I mentioned, that are held in the evening times, but we also offer times Pacific, Eastern, as well as Mountain Time. So the evening times don't work for you. We have additional options. These courses are in the form of 6 weeks, twice per week at 3 hours per session, right? That's a total of about 36 hours. And you will get the opportunity to be immersed in an environment where you have staff and teachers who care about you. You have peers who are just as committed to their success as they are to yours. And you'll have the opportunity to get hands-on project-based training that will allow you to develop skills that will last you a lifetime and allow you to continue to move up as well as you enter into your tech journey. So in a nutshell, that is a little bit about what we're all about here at Bitwise and understanding our programs. But we're going to have some individuals who are going to come and talk to you a little bit about their experiences. What has it been about these courses? What has it been about our environment? What has it been about their experience that has allowed them to be able to come into a place where there's no past information required, there's no past experience required, and allow them to gain all the necessary technical skills that they need in order to feel confident, in order to feel encouraged, about jumping into tech. So that is enough of my spiel. I think the most important thing, of course, is making sure that you hear from our wonderful student speakers who are going to come now and have an opportunity to chat with you. Our first up is one of our individuals who, as mentioned, is taking one of our pre-apprenticeship courses and is enjoying their experience overall. First up, we're going to have Jovanni. Jovanni, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Hi, Jovanni. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. And so, as I was mentioning, and just briefly to everyone who, of course, is on the line with us today, when it comes to Bitwise, we offer those project-based technical training courses that really get you an opportunity to be exposed. For yourself, you have already taken the course. I believe, if I'm mistaken, you're in your second one. Am I right?
Yes. Yep. I'm on mobile friendly.
Awesome. You're on the mobile friendly class. And for those of you who are at home, our first course is Website for Beginners, making sure you understand all the basic fundamentals of how to build a website. And with that second course, which Giovanni is in, mobile friendly, it's really all about being able to, of course, make sure that website itself is interactive, especially to different devices, right? To mobile devices and things of that nature, whether the website is interactive and able to transfer itself when utilized through different forms of technology, usually through those mobile devices. So, super excited, of course, to have you here, Giovanni. The first thing that's going to be most important is like, tell me a little bit about how you got connected to Bitwise and what were some of your sort of thoughts and sort of aspirations for yourself prior to connecting with her that you really wanted to accomplish or what you really want to try to develop in your journey.
Yeah. So I heard about Bitwise through one of my friends that I actually used to work with them at Alorica, and after a while, like we wound up after COVID and everything happened, we wound up going different directions. But we got back into contact, and she was telling me about this about Bitwise and how it's such a great company, you know, because her boyfriend was working for you guys at the moment actually. And so she was just telling me all the great benefits about it. And then she sent me a link to find out more information on it. So then I just started reading up on it. And then for me personally, my aspirations was to get get a like a training or some type of skill that I can take with me anywhere. That way, I could eventually start to go into working for myself and not having to necessarily have to work for someone else, and just have that freedom of just being able to work wherever I want to work, be my own boss, kind of do my own thing in that sense. So after reading about Bitwise and how the company worked and the different trainings that were available, I was like, okay, well, we're gonna try this out and see how it works, and it's been great ever since.
I love it. I love it. So for yourself, word of mouth, which is of course one of the largest ways in which people tend to hear about our services. But for you, you already had aspirations. You're like, hey, I'm looking for an opportunity to develop a skill set, maybe be an entrepreneur, of course, but always have a skill set which I can, of course, fall back on in order to be able to do the things that I want to do or be able to have more flexibility in regards to how I go about living my life
Exactly.
in my days. And that's really interesting. Now, you said that from that you jumped into the class and it was great. Define that for myself and for those who are at home. Tell me a little bit about the first course that you were in, our website for beginners course, and we'd love to hear a little bit about your feedback about your current class you're in, your mobile friendlies course as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started out, the first thing that caught my attention was the attitude, I guess that you could say about, you know, the first of all, my teacher, she was just awesome. She talked to you like she already knew you. Everyone in the chat, you know, you can ask any question at any time of the day, and there'll be someone there to answer, or even if they don't answer that, someone's going to respond to you. You know what I mean? So that excuse me, that initially when I first started the class was like, okay, this is gonna work. Then like I had no prior tech experience whatsoever, so even getting into the class and not knowing, you know, anything about it, it was enjoyable because the way that everything was broken down, it was easy to follow, and then it was easy to see the results like in what you were doing. You know what I mean? Like they'll tell you to complete an action, and then this is what you're supposed to see, and like that to me, like that instant gratification. You know what I mean? I know it's bad to think that way, but sometimes it's not instant though. When you're when you're a certain way, it may not be instant, but like that gratification you get once you get it done, I was like, okay, like a light bulb switched, and I was like, all right,
Yeah,
we're in the race
no,
spot.
that's good, and you're being honest in regards to that. And I think that that's important. Like we always find the things that really work for us that brings us into that. You mentioned two things. So I think the first one was that you didn't have any prior experience, and I want to make sure this is clear for, of course, all those who are on the line who are interested in our program. You don't need any experience, and I know sometimes you hear that and you're like, "Oh, that's not the truth. That's not the case," but it is the case. You don't need any prior experience. The biggest thing that you're going to need is that grit and determination, right? You're going to have peers who are going to be willing to assist you and support you. You're going to have study group, right? You're going to have an instructor, as you mentioned, that treats you very supportively. Those are
Mm-hmm.
the things that are going to be important. So, number one, you don't need that prior experience. Number two, you're going to have individuals that are going to be there for you and it's going to treat you like family. And I think that's what you kind of were alluding to with regards to your instructor, because really we understand that in order for you to build that in confidence, right, to get through this journey and to gain those skill sets and to realize that you too belong here, it's about making sure that you have an environment that supports that. And so that's really good. But the second thing you really mentioned was that sort of instant gratification. Talk to me a little bit about that. I know for you, being able to do that work and to see it manifest into something that was tangible was something that really, really resonated with you. Is that something that you kind of foresaw or thought was the case, or something you kind of picked up on? You're like, this is more of a field for me because I'm able to put in this work, but at the end of the day, I'm able to get like something back that makes me feel
Yeah, exactly. The second part. It was more. I wasn't really searching out for it because I first getting into tech. I felt like it was going to be one of those things where you work, which it is, but like you work on it, you work on it, you work on it, you work on it, and then like a month or two down the line, you'll see a little bit of your progress. For me, it was more or less like I would put in work, and then once I saw that gratification of what I created, and then the benefits of it, it that was what really sparked me to continue and even move on to the next class because it's worth it to me, like that rewarding gratification. Because like yeah, you can get a job and a check is rewarding and everything like that, but if you don't like what you do, it's not gonna you're not gonna feel good about it, like you know what I mean, at least for me. So something so for this it's like when I get my web page to look how I want it to look, like that feeling that I get is like it's almost the same as like taking care of someone and then you know you or physical therapy and you got them to walk again, like you know what I mean, like that feeling of like yeah, I did
I did
that.
that. I did that. I hear you. So, talk to me. You did your website for beginners course, and now you're in the second course, which is mobile friendly. Talk a little bit about what you gained from that first course in terms of your skill set. What's happening in the second course? How do these two things really sort of tie into each other?
Yeah, so for website for beginners, that one it basically taught me the basic layout of the website and how to create the website, putting in different elements of the website to make it look a certain way, and like putting in pictures just to really actually like develop a web page. And now for mobile for beginners, the way they kind of interact, which we were just talking about, was that there's certain things for your website when you first create it for website for beginners where it's just the basic,
Mhm.
and when you start to make your screen a little bit smaller, you know what I mean? Now we need to, and that's what the website for beginners comes into play. Is like it. I mean, sorry, the mobile friendly comes into play because now learning in this class, I'm learning all the questions and frustrations that I had creating my website the first time in this class. So it's like, oh, okay, well, I can just do this instead
Mhm.
of doing a whole long list on my coding. I can just supplement that for you know for the new things that I'm learning and to keep it mobile friendly, obviously, to get to be able to view your website on a mobile device or any device, really. So they went in together, and then at first it kind of frustrated me a little bit because I'm like, why didn't they teach me this in the first class? But when you actually sit back and think about it, like they were just breaking it down for you in a very simple way and letting you know, okay, so this is the basis of it. Now let's start adding more complex situations to it, so then that way you know
Yeah.
how to do this the manual way, and then you can also use this as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And to see that it builds on each other, that
Mm-hmm.
it's a process, it's a journey. And so I think that's something for other individuals to also realize as they're coming into this, that it's a journey that builds upon itself. And I think one of the most important things is that, even though it may not seem like that at the beginning, like as you continue to work on it, those things tend to grow and they tend to manifest, and they all tend to like tie into each other. Um, what piece of advice would you have for individuals who are like, they're seeing you on here, they're seeing you talk about your experience and how you've taken the first course and now you're in the second course and all of that. What advice would you have for those individuals who may be thinking or contemplating coming in and jumping into the program?
My first advice would just be make sure that you give yourself enough time or discipline outside of class and the study groups. Like you're gonna want to study on your own as well and run it through and practice as much as you can outside of that. Because yes, they are very helpful. But I know for me, the way that I learned is I have to go through it myself. I need to break down, especially the terminology, especially if you're new to the tech industry like I am. I had to watch a lot of videos on like what certain things mean because you can get someone to explain it to you, but if you don't understand the terminology, you're gonna have a question on top of your question on top of your question. So I like you're gonna want to break that down a little bit, give yourself extra time outside of your study groups and your classes, and just give yourself that self discipline, and also attend as many study groups as you can because those will helped me like and continue to help me, and even in the study group chat, you know what I mean. So I would just my best advice would be to utilize all the resources that Bitwise gives you, and then also take the initiative upon yourself to continue to develop your skill, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
like learn how you learn, like take the information and then process it how you need to process it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. This place, this environment, the Midwest has created. You have an array of different resources, but you also need to invest in it in your own time as well to continue to grow in that. And I really appreciate that. Jovanni, did you have any work that you wanted to show or illustrate? I think it'll allow those who may be hearing about your story to be like, I really want to grasp the context of the content that you're discussing. So I'd love to be able to see a little bit of work that you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just press this present, right?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Um, Not at the moment, I do not.
Hold on, I'm saying it's the 9 times 6.
And I know we're working on that right now. So Giovanni is going to take a second and share his screen with us all in order to illustrate some of his work. And Giovanni, while we're figuring that portion out on the back end, I really appreciate all the different items that you've mentioned in regards to that. I think it's so important for us to make sure that we're really investing in ourselves in those things as well too, because we could, like you said, individuals can explain it to you all day, but the most important thing is making sure that you understand it and that is really resonating with you. And so I do want to check in. I know Giovanni is sharing some of his work right now with everyone for my wonderful individuals in the background. That is that still a possibility?
It's telling me my permission is denied. It won't
Mm,
let me. Usually, it gives me the option to accept.
gotcha. Totally understandable. Well, Giovanni, what we will do is, if possible, we'll circle back to you and see if we'll get you an opportunity to be able to share that right now, and we'll figure that on the back end. But thank you once again so much for all that you've done and for all that your experience offers to those who may be contemplating joining our program. It really means a lot. So thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
Awesome. Some really good information from Giovanni, understanding no previous background experience in tech, being able to come in here and invest a little bit in himself in regards to putting in the work, but also utilizing the resources that were available to him has allowed him to continue to grow and move along our program. And that's super, super exciting. So you had the opportunity to speak to a pre-apprentice here who's taken now in the currently our two first courses of our program. But let's talk to a person who's actually gone through some of our courses and now has moved over into our apprenticeship. I think it'd be really interesting for you all to understand the second phase of that journey, learning a lot about our apprenticeship opportunity and really what that entails. And so at this time, we're going to have our current apprentice, Itza, come up to talk a little bit about her experience.
Hi,
Hello, Itza. How are you?
pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. And I'm going to stop myself because I misstated your pronouns. They are coming up. It's a pleasure to see you here at Bitwise. It's always important to make sure that we are being respectful of individuals. And I want to make sure that I lead by example by making sure that I apologize. I want to make sure I correct your pronouns. But it is such a great to see you here today. I know
Yes,
we've chatted some time ago, and it was just you had such great energy. So I'm super super excited, of course, for you to be here to talk a little bit about your experience. Now, you have, similar to Jovanni, come through and have been in our program taking our pre apprenticeship courses, but now you're on the next step and you've now moved into, of course, an apprenticeship, which you've been in at some time. Which
yes.
apprenticeship are you in?
So I'm part of the graphic design apprenticeship, and it's
Nice.
been 8 months already.
Wow. I know
Yeah.
time just flies, right? To everyone, of course, online, I know you all know that time flies, but just a reminder, hey, if this is something you're thinking about, jump on in because time does surely go by and you can get in here and learn a lot. And your 8 months have just gone by like that, I know. So
Yeah.
that's a wonderful experience. Before we jump into your apprenticeship, it's a tell me a little bit about your backstory. What were you up to before you got connected with Bitwise? What was that all about?
So before coming to Bitwise, I was a lab assistant for a university. I was working seasonal for about almost 8 years. Counting insects. And I know it sounds cool to some people and whatnot, but like, yeah, the insect part of it was awesome, discovering new bugs and stuff. But just the environment itself, like, as in the people were really toxic, and I just felt like stuck. I felt stuck there, but you know, growing up, I would hear from the people around me and my family that a job is a job. It pays the bills, puts food on the table. But I would always like ask myself, like, why do I have to be so sad doing my job? Like, why do I have to dread waking up in the morning or not even wanting to wake up to, go count insects? Um, so yeah, I just, but at the end of the day, I was grateful for, the fact that I did have a job and had something to go back to. But it was definitely consuming me and not in a good way.
I hear you. I hear you. So you went through that. You uh, heard about Bitwise, but there was still a little bit of uncertainty there, right? Talk to me about that. And how did it
Yeah.
go from that uncertainty to being like, I'm going for it, I'm jumping on in?
So I heard about Bitwise through my cousin, and he would tell me about it. He told us about a friend of ours that we grew up with, from a little town. We grew up in a little town called Huron. I don't think you would even consider it a town. And he was telling me about how amazing she said it was, and that I should do it, even though it sounded like a scam. He's like, just give it a try. But reading into it and looking into it, I felt like I wasn't worthy of something so like great. Like, I felt like since I was really little, I was programmed to not feel like I deserved good things. So I said yes to another two um, seasons of county books, and then going back, those seasons got even worse. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? If she asks me again, I won't be me. I'm like, there
And
was
I'm
an incident that was like, okay, no, like, I can't do this anymore. And then my friend Madison, who is also an apprentice for the WordPress, I remember she sent me a snap and she was like, pizza, this is an assign, all of it in Obama, like, importantly, they look at her shirt, like, I'm signing up for class. This is to do it. So, awesome. I have to. The first course, and it was great.
I love that. I love all of that. I love that experience of being able to see something like that that really sort of drew you in and made you feel like, hey, I can be a part of something like this. I think that that's fantastic. Now, you saw that, you jumped yourself into that, and you took a pre-apprenticeship course, and you really enjoyed that experience. What was it about that experience that you really enjoyed that made you say, I'm interested in it, I'm down? And what was that sort of next step with regards to you moving on to apprenticeship? How did that unfold? I would love to hear a little bit about what made you feel good about being in the class, and what made you even interested in moving into the apprenticeship, and how that all broke down.
Okay, so websites for beginners was pretty challenging for me. The only coding I ever really did was like MySpace and Tumblr. Um, but just being there, like from the get-go, how supportive everyone was. If you had any questions, especially the person teaching me then, her name was Anamari. And then um, just everyone class to help. I was also shout out to my friend Diego who stayed up with me. Just that knowing that someone's willing to do that made me feel good because I've never had that, not just like with like work wise, but like family wise. So it was really,
Mm-hmm.
really a good feeling. And I was like, I want to continue this, whether I get chosen to be an apprenticeship or not. Like, I want to take on the full courses. And during my first course, I reached out and and um, I thought it was going to be a job interview, and I'm like getting ready, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? I'm not as
Mm-hmm.
smart as other people. They will not want me. Like, they probably want someone with experience. And it was like not even a job interview. It was a friend, and she was like, no one more than you, more than you, something like this, and I still sometimes think, okay, I still don't belong. But I genuinely feel like I do, and I also want everyone else to know that they do as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so she reached out, and um, then I got connected with Stephanie, who was just as awesome. And then I got the email like for the Alpha Works, and I was like, okay, I'm applying for the position. I'm sure there's other people doing the same application. And I sent my cousin, who told me about the courses at first, a screenshot, and he was like, I was like, I'm applying or whatever, and he was like, no, Itza, you got it. And I was like, no, I didn't. He was like, no, yeah, you did. And I remember just crying to my mom, and I was like, Mom, like, someone wants me for me, not because of my past experience, my job, school, or anything like that. They want me for me, and that was so important for me because I've never had that. I felt so happy in that instant, and I've never felt that happy in my life. So I was like, I don't care. I even told Erica at some point in our conversation, I was like, because I wanted to be part of Bitwise so bad, I was like, I will be a janitor. I do not care. And just her response, like, it struck me in a good way. And it was like, and you're going to be treated just like anyone else. And I was like, who says that and actually means it? And
Yeah,
I
indeed.
felt her energy, even if it was through a computer. Like, it was amazing.
That's awesome. I'm glad that you had that experience where they reached out to you and connected with you, and you felt like, hey, someone wanted me for me, just for myself, nothing extra. And I think that's
Yeah.
important. And I think that's why we always say that here, that no one belongs here more than you, because we're willing to accept you just the way you are. We believe in you, and we're here to help you along that journey. So it's exciting. Tell me just a little bit about your apprenticeship experience. You've been in 8 months as a design apprentice. What have you enjoyed about it? What has been your favorite things? What kind of tools are you utilizing? Give me all the good stuff.
Yeah, so I've been in this journey for surreal journey, by the way, for 8 months. And it just feels really good to wake up excited for work. Um, and just being able to create, it's something that I love to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love, I do want to give a shout out to our lead, Trevor Ford. Not only is he always willing to help and answer questions when it comes to design, but he treats us like family. He checks in on us. He schedules one-on-ones to talk about how we're feeling, and he has just created this like positive environment and so comfortable for us that I'm so grateful. We call ourselves the Pixel Pushers, and we're a family, and it's just been so rad. And just learning all these programs, we've been learning Adobe, Illustrator, After Effects, which are two of my favorite, um, and Blender, just InDesign, so many programs I didn't even know existed. Like I only knew about like Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, and that was it. But being able to like dabble in all these other programs has been really, really cool, and just learning about them. Yeah, there's struggles here and there, but again, we have such amazing people in our group that are just willing to jump on, answer questions, screen share, tell you step by step how to do things, and it's great. It's a good feeling, and I love being a part of it.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. And so you've been in this for 8 months. You've enjoyed your experience. You also, have done all different types of work. And you had some work that you wanted to share with us today too. So, did you want to dive on into that?
Oh
Show us a little bit
yeah,
to provide us a little bit of context for all of those of you who are on the line. You can see what a little bit of what Itza's been working on.
yeah. So recently, let me see. Let's share. Recently, we're currently shadowing every 2 weeks. We shadow a designer from Bitwise,
Nice.
and the one I was shadowing before, who I'm currently shadowing, her name is Caitlin. I was shadowing David Cuevas, and he was given an assignment to design like a T-shirt and Tumblr design for Soundwaves, the cafe, at Bitwise 41. And he asked us to jump on it and do our own designs, and it could potentially be chosen, and that's amazing. So I was really excited, and I want to show you guys what I came up with, and I'm just really proud of it. And I also want to show a little bit of what I've done on After Effects, but let me see. Present. Oh, it's not letting me present.
No, it's not like on your end. I
Hmm.
understand that too. So how about this, Itza? This is what we'll actually do, so that we can fix that real quick. What we're going to do is, we're going to pause you for right now so they can fix you, and
Yeah, it's
then what we'll do is we'll have Jovanni come forward
okay.
at this time.
Oh, it's working. It's working now.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, it just popped up.
yeah.
Hold on 1 second.
Well, no worries,
Okay.
Itza. We're going to actually
Can you guys see my
hold off.
screen?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't right now. So let's actually hold off for you,
Okay.
and then we'll go ahead and have Giovanni come, and we'll come back to you
No
in just
worries.
1 second. Apologize for the technical
Okay,
difficulties, but
awesome.
hey,
No worries.
we got some of the best people in the house. We're gonna
Of
figure it out.
course.
We'll have Giovanni come at this time.
All right. No worries.
Hey, Giovanni. So I know earlier you were going to show us a little bit of some of yours, so we'll have you go right now. Awesome. And Giovanni, I think you may be a little muted on your end, so just make sure your volume is up in that regard too.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good
Okay.
stuff.
All right. So this is um how based his own flower shop. I worked with him to do his own thing. So I asked him if I could make him a website. So this is his website. Now with website for beginners, they teach you this whole navigation process here that you add with hovering over it and things like that, which is pretty cool. He does flower arrangements, for weddings and things like that. Now this would be called the form that I learned about, where they can just enter in their information and then click here and submit it. All this is all separate. Like when you're looking at your code, it's gonna be it's all different, but you learn that within these classes. Like this was I didn't know, like I said, I didn't know nothing about creating a website. So this is just the main homepage, giving a little information about him, and then at the bottom, we could click here, and it would bring you to his Instagram page. We have a contact form here, contact where it'll give you his information, his phone number, the address, get you a little map here, and then also another order form which I brought in from Google, which was pretty cool, which is down here. And
Nice.
then our last page would be about our about, which is just basically about the owner.
Mm,
Since it is a Mexican-owned shop, I thought that was important to put in. And then just information about him. He came from Mexico. Spanish was his first language. He's taught himself English, and just went from there. He's very, very motivated individual. So we became really good friends. And then they teach you also how to make these. So you see how that flips.
yeah.
They
Nice.
teach
Nice.
so that's awesome. And then this is a gift right here, which you'll learn also in class how to insert that with the flag and things like that. So yeah, and then they'll teach you the links too. I don't know if it will pop up, but if you click this link, like I said, can you see how it popped up to his Instagram? No.
Mm, no, we didn't see that portion, but no, this is really, really good, and it shows for yourself your ability to take the skill sets that you're learning in order to benefit individuals within your community, right? And that's the most exciting
Right.
thing about that in that regard too.
Exactly.
This is really, really awesome, and it's good to see how you're utilizing your skills to benefit other individuals as well too. So, Giovanni, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate that.
Hey, you got it. I did just want to show one thing
Mhm.
about what I was talking about with how we were speaking about how they go the courses build on each other. So what I was talking, because I didn't fix this just of yet, but like once you go a little bit smaller, everything will go. Watch it not do it.
Yeah.
This
No,
this
I hear
page
you.
couldn't do it.
Yeah, that
But yeah,
ability
I just
for it
wanted
to
to
be
show that
fluid.
as a demonstration. But yeah, so
Awesome. Well, Giovanni, thank you so much for showing your work. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much again. At this time, we're going to bring Itza back so they can demonstrate some of their work as well too. Thank you so much, Giovanni. Hey, Itza, I know you're
Hello.
back, and you're going to show us some of your work too. So we would love to see it.
Yeah. Let's see. So, okay. Can you guys see?
Here we go. Here we go. I am seeing some of it. Yes.
Okay, so this is the brand guide that I made for the t-shirt designs and tumbler designs. So here we have the main logo for sound waves
Nice.
that I created, and we go here, and this was all done on Adobe Illustrator. Here we have the black and white logos, and then we mock them. Well, I mocked them onto some tumblers here, and then we move down to the t-shirts, and then I created two additional logos, just in case, and they're right here,
Oh, I see. I see.
and then mock them up on some t-shirts and a tumbler.
Cool.
Yeah, so this was my brand guide for the sound waves design. Um, and yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun being able to just kind of incorporate what you wanted to do. And I also kept the little sound wave symbols as well, but I love the ocean, and I was like, okay, well, the name's perfect because of sound waves. I was like, I mean, I'm gonna throw a wave on there. And I was just really proud. I was really proud. I was really excited creating this, and it felt really nice. And just like I said, like knowing that it could potentially be used by them, like it was awesome. It's still awesome.
Absolutely. No, that's super cool. And before we let you go, what was your favorite thing in regards to all of it?
All of it, just
Yeah.
the creating aspect of it. There's nothing I love more than creating, and it makes me happy. It takes me out of my depression and stuff. So being able to do that, and just knowing that others might love it, it makes me really happy. So just the whole aspect, just the whole creating aspect of it makes me really happy. I like creating not just for myself, but creating for others. It feels
Mhm.
really good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Itza, thank you so much. Beautiful work. I love your designs in that
Thank you.
regard too. Thank you so much for sharing your work and your experience. Really appreciate it. Awesome. We do have one more speaker, and then we're going to jump into Q&A with you all. Our last one, you've heard from our pre-apprentice, you've heard from an apprentice, and now you're going to hear from what we like to call as our industry expert now individual who has gone through some of our journey to now be employed. And at this time, we're going to have Shawn, come and join us. Shawn, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, everyone? I've been great. Thanks for asking.
Good, good, good. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for joining us. Now, Shawn, you were in a facet of our apprenticeship program, and then from there has moved on to now being in employment as a software developer.
hmm
Tell us just a little bit about your experience in coming from that sort of apprenticeship aspect to now here. What has been sort of those differences that you've seen?
Um, as far as the differences between apprenticeship and current like dev work, I wouldn't say there's too much like real difference. Maybe the biggest thing is that I have a bit more autonomy on my own to make more decisions. I have more of a like a leadership role, but that's mostly just comes through the experience. But For me, the apprenticeship was really just a great step for my career, a great step for everything. I learned so much in that through that experience, and grew a lot as a excuse me, a developer and a person. I really felt like that experience prepared me like incredibly well for what I'm dealing with every day today. It just really has been an invaluable time for myself.
Absolutely. Now, I know you talked about like how the apprenticeship was really more sort of collaborative in that regard, and now you're kind of moved away for having more autonomy. What were certain aspects about the apprenticeship, maybe the collaborativeness or other things? What was it that you felt like really sort of prepared you for where you are now as a developer?
I think this is a very like bitwisey thing, but something that really benefited me personally is kind of just being thrown into like a big project and having the belief from my lead at the time that me and the rest of my group um, can really do well in this in that environment, and they really trusted us and gave us the confidence that even though you might not have had the most experience, that we can help provide you with that experience. And they really just kind of like just lack of a better term, like throw you into the deep end and really help and support you when you need it the most. And it just that experience and having that belief and trust that that we can actually achieve the goals that we're out to set really important for me. It really helped me believe in myself, that I do belong here, um, that I do I do good work, and that with the right guidance and the support, anything is really possible. And that really started out in the apprenticeship for myself.
No, that's fantastic. And not only that, not only being just sort of shoved into to the deep end, but that like while you were in there, you had the support. But not only that, but they looked towards you to provide feedback to show that hey, even though you may be new, you have the ability to produce at a bitwise level. Like I know that also had a huge impact on you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. They really, gave me the belief that I had a voice. I had a say in what we were doing and trying to accomplish. Um, as a developer, sometimes you might get asked to do things, and you might not feel like you have a say. But in this environment, they really gave us the autonomy to feel like we can speak our mind and say, hey, like maybe we should try doing things this way, and having that being listened to and perceived. And in certain cases we actually go with that suggestion. It really kind of made me feel like, wow, like I can't believe, like you know they trust that certain things that I may come up with are actually important. And it feels nice to be listened to and to be heard. And the support we have here is unmatched, honestly. So it's just been that's been really, really helpful to myself.
That's so awesome. And for yourself, what is it? What does your day to day look like as a developer now?
So day to day is it's a lot of meetings, honestly. I don't want to sugarcoat and say everything is just coding and all that good fun stuff that I get to do, but it's a lot of meetings, a lot of preparing for kind of feature sets that we need to build. Um, And then, so like I would say I have like a daily meeting in the morning. Sometimes we have like weekly like issue kind of creation. So we're trying to figure out like how we're going to approach a certain feature set. And then I have, the rest of my day is spent writing code, figuring out little problems, maybe researching, spending my time trying to research for a certain feature set that I need to build. So it's kind of all over the place, but definitely a lot of meetings, but very important meetings. Obviously, it's not just sitting around. We all get to discuss and share our inputs on how we should approach things, and it's very collaborative in that way.
I love it. I love it. Well, Shawn, thank you so much for coming in and talking a little bit about your experience. For those of you who are, of course, on the line, you may be thinking, what does this actually manifest to? Well, Shawn is a definition of that. What it results into is having an opportunity of having a career and being a developer. And so, Shawn, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. It's great to talk to everyone.
Awesome. Well, you've had the opportunity to hear the experience from individuals from both our apprenticeship as well as industry professional, all those individuals who've gone along that student journey. And we're going to bring them back up so that we can hear some of your questions because that's what is really important. But before we do that, we do want to have a couple poll questions for you all in order to gather some more information from you all. So we're going to jump right on into that with our first question. Our first question is, what interests you in taking a Bitwise course? What interests you in taking a Bitwise course? So please feel free to select one of those. This would be good for us to have a better understanding for all of those who will be joining us on the line. Awesome. But if you haven't, please make sure to make a selection. Thank you all so much. We're going to move on to our next question at this time. And our second question is, what is the biggest thing preventing you from taking a course? What is the biggest thing preventing you from taking a course? If it is other, I do ask that you put that other into the chat. Of course, please be sensitive. We are, of course, on a public forum, so we ask that everything that you place on here, of course, is responsible. But once again, if you do have an other, please place in the chat what that is. That way it helps us better understand so that we can address those things. Awesome. Awesome. Absolutely. And just so you know for course price, if you are in needing of financial assistance, please make sure to let us know. We do offer that. Technical knowledge, you don't need any. Equipment, laptop, we do have assistance for that as well too. Time commitment, of course, that's something that we offer an array of different times in which you can take advantage of. Once again, if it is an other, please place it in the chat. We would love to be able to figure out what that is and see how we can address it. So thank you all so much. And we're going to move to our last question, most important question, the most important question. Hand on your heart, all right? Are you wearing pajamas right now? That is the big question. I know y'all can see my white shirt, okay? Y'all can't see my pants, okay? So I ain't gotta put nothing on it in regards to that. But hand on your heart, are you wearing pajamas right now? All right? You ain't got a lot of Chris. It's all right. Y'all can be truth with that. Oh, I see a lot of no's. Okay, 100% yes. That's what I'm talking about. I see it. I see it. It's okay. It's totally understandable. Hey, wear those bottoms, especially those pajama bottoms, while you can. All right, while you can, while you're home, make sure to do that. Well, I thank you all so much for answering our poll questions. At this time, we're going to bring back all of our wonderful speakers, and we're going to jump right into Q&A. So let's get after it. Hello, lovely people. Jovanni, Itza, Nuno, a pleasure to, of course, have you all here. Thank you all so much again for coming in and speaking. At this time, we'll jump right into Q&A. I think I'll pinpoint one of you all to help answer a question, and then we'll move on to the next one. And then, of course, if any of you want to jump in to a question, please feel free to let me know. Our first question is, what kind of computer, hardware, software, do we need to own? Are there any other costs involved with taking the initial class. I'll put it out there for the record. You will, of course, need a laptop, not a Chromebook, not a Chromebook. You're going to need an actual laptop that has more memory, more RAM, So I want to make sure that is specific with regards to that. But the other big thing is, are there any other costs involved in taking a course? And the biggest thing is going to be the laptop. But Jovanni, I mean, for yourself, has there been any additional costs for yourself outside of having a laptop equipment, of course, or internet that you feel like you needed?
So not necessarily internet, not yet anyway. But uh, dual screen. I did invest in some screens, even though technically I got them from my job, but it still came out of my check. So like the dual screens is like it's not necessary, but it is so helpful when you're taking the class because then you can follow along and do it as your teacher's doing it. You know what I mean? Like it just makes it easier. And a desk and a chair if you don't already have it, like a good chair because you're going to be
Yes, I
sitting
love
there
it.
trying to focus, and the last thing you want to worry about is your back hurting.
That's true. That's true. That's good stuff. That's a good response, Giovanni. Anyone else have anything to add? You don't need to, but if there is anything else that Giovanni is missing, let us know. But that was a really, really good response, Giovanni. Definitely a dual screen. Definitely, of course, a comfy chair. That is absolutely needed. Awesome. We'll jump to our next question. Oh, and I see this question is directly. So for Shawn, what are some ways you're continuing your education? What can we do after taking, say, the four classes, whether we get an apprenticeship or not, to further our development into becoming a successful dev?
Really great question. I would say what I like to do to kind of continue my education is um, I like to like find new technologies that someone in the company is like maybe another project is working on or something that I've heard about and kind of look into it and try to build like a small project, like a side project, just kind of in my free time. I think that's been very helpful for me. Also, kind of through my experience as a dev at Bitwise, since we do consulting, sometimes you kind of get bounced around different projects, and through that experience, I often have to relearn or learn like a new technology that particular project is using. So through that experience as well has been very helpful. Just kind of um, to kind of be thrown into a situation where I have to kind of pick up on something new. Um, and just kind of use my time during work hours and after hours if needed to kind of just learn something that's going to be useful to the project I'm on or that I may have to kind of pick up on and work into a bit later. Um, so always just kind of like the kind of moral of the story is like maybe just take it upon yourself to be interested and to kind of continue to have that drive to continue learning new things in this industry. What I've learned is like once you know something, there's always something else to learn. So
Hmm.
once you kind of have that mindset and know, like, okay, I have to constantly keep learning to be able to stay afloat in a way. It definitely makes it a bit easier when you kind of have that mindset that, like, okay, I don't always know everything I need to know, and that there's always something that can be learned later on.
Absolutely. No, that was great, Shawn. That was great. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Our next question is, how many hours per week do you feel like you need to devote to time outside the classroom in order to really learn the training? I think that's a fantastic question. I will hit on you, Itza, but Giovanni, I definitely would like to hear some of your feedback as well too, because I know you mentioned that. So we'll start with Itza, and then Giovanni, I'd love to hear some of your feedback.
I'm sorry, you're pausing.
No, I was saying, in reading the question was, how many hours per week do you feel you need to devote to time outside of the classroom in order to really learn the training? So, want to get your feedback, and then we'll move over and get Giovanni's feedback as
Yeah,
well.
okay, yeah, because you were like pausing, so I couldn't hear.
Oh, no worries.
But how much time? Well, outside of out of work.
Out of your, so I guess when you're, especially in terms of that training, especially with you taking your website for beginners course, for that, did you find yourself doing some research and things outside of the classroom, and what did that actually look like?
Yeah, I found myself using Free Code Camp a lot to try to
Hmm.
teach myself coding on the side when I wasn't learning on with my instructor and stuff like that. I would do that a lot actually. Um, my choice, of course. You know, I just wanted to learn a lot more and be able to come into class and be able to help others as well. Because, like I said, I came in struggling, and just like teaching myself in order to teach others felt really, really good. So I put in some time. I would spend on free code camp taking the courses for, I would say, about like 2 hours. And if I felt like I needed to do a little bit more, I would do more. Or if I felt, oh wow, I'm doing so great, I would still continue to do it because it just felt good.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Thank you so much. It's Jovanni.
Yeah, I would agree about. For me personally, it was like 2 to 4 hours. Now, when I was working full time when I first started, so I had to
Mm.
balance that out. So it was more like an hour or two a day I would do outside of class, and then or on the weekends. But I would once I was able to devote more time, I would do it as long as the classes or as long as the as my as study group was. So I would at least do 3 hours a day. But now, when it comes to coding and you're starting to teach yourself, you're starting to learn things, you can set aside 3 hours, and the next thing you know, you look up and it's like 2 in the morning, and you started at 8, and you didn't even know the time went by, and you're like, oh, well. So you kind of you got to be good at time management, especially if you got to wake up in the morning. But definitely, I would say that, like just like Itza said, at the least 2 hours a day, or just to keep it fresh in your mind. Even if you don't get to where you need to get to within that time, you still have that in your mind. You still know what you're working with. So now when you go back to class or you go to your study group, you know exactly where you're at, what your questions are, and what you've been working on. So then you can just right away go from there, and then you just keep building up. So definitely say at least 2 hours.
Gotcha. Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you. It's once again, these are not requirements, but these are some recommendations for you all to really immerse yourself in order to get the best results from, of course, the program. There was a question that I saw on the chat that I want to make sure I addressed to Adriel, who said, "Is it on-site or remote?" As of now, we are fully remote in regards to our learning. That will change over time because we want to make sure that you have that in-person experience that's going to be vital. But as of right now, we are fully remote. So just wanted to make sure I addressed that question for the chat. We'll move on to our next question. Would you be able to give us an idea of what an apprenticeship yearly salary would be? That's a great question. But I will say that when it comes to something of that nature, we like to consider that to be a second date kind of question there too. So when it comes to salaries, it is dependent on where you reside. We want to make sure that people are equal. So I won't go into the specific details in regards to that here because it does vary because some people live in more expensive areas. Some people live in different parts of the country. We have 10 different cities. And so the apprenticeship in itself and how we go about doing that, we want to be sensitive to that. But I do want to make sure that individuals know that on average, we're seeing individuals come into our program making a certain amount of money, usually on average, and then being able to triple their salary. That's what we're able to see with regards to our apprenticeship program. So when it comes to that, the salaries will definitely vary depending upon your cost of living. In regard to that, but what you will see through based on our apprenticeship opportunities is that we're able to, in many ways, triple the salary of the individuals who are coming into our program. So if you are interested, of course, come in, take our pre-apprenticeship courses. If you're interested in the apprenticeship, then you'll sit down with a student support specialist and they will give you all the details regarding the opportunity, what will be the expectations, the scope of the work, the salary, all of that jazz. But that will be dependent upon where you reside. Once again, we are located in 10 cities across the nation. So if you are interested, we'll give you more specifics of that when that time comes. Let's move on to our next question. Next question is, so are these courses practical for career change? Absolutely. Shawn, I would love to get some of your thoughts on a question such as this one.
I 100% think that these courses are very practical for what I do every day. I actually taught some of the classes about a year ago, and just through that experience and having to kind of lesson plan and figure out um, like what's required and what's necessary, like yeah, it 100%. Everything that you will be learning in these courses, just they build upon each other course to course, and then through that last course that you will take really builds upon what you were going to be doing in an apprenticeship, and then through the apprenticeship itself, really just adds more to the fire into what is required to be. I mean, from my experience, a developer, because that's the track that I took. But for whatever career path that you took, I'm sure for design and stuff, all of that will really benefit you. Everything that you're going to be learning is something that I do on the daily. So those skills completely transfer over, in my opinion.
I love it. Thank you so much, Shawn. We have one last question, and then we'll wrap it up. So our last question. Um, it says, how long should someone expect to be in the software development apprenticeship track? What is the time duration for the other tracks? That is a fantastic question. I'm so glad we're able to get that there. So, making sure it's clear for our pre apprenticeship. Once again, those are 4 courses. Each of those courses for the pre apprenticeship is a total of 36 hours total, right? So it's 6 hours a week, 2 sessions a week, 3 hours per session, right? When it comes to your apprenticeship opportunity, that is a year long opportunity. That's 2,000 hours, right? And that is consistent of a 40-hour work week. And so all of our apprenticeship tracks are the same, consisting of a full year, 40 hours, and a total of 2,000 hours of learning. So we do ask that if you do decide to, of course, become a part of our apprenticeship opportunity, that's something that you're willing to commit to, because it is a full-time opportunity. All right. So just want to make sure that everyone's aware for all of our tracks that will be the same. Fantastic question. That does it for all of our questions for today. Once again, if you all have any additional questions, please make sure to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to respond to any questions or concerns that you do have. To all of our wonderful guest speakers who've come to join us, Jovanni, it's a new note. We really, really, really appreciate you all coming in and offering a little bit about your own experience at Bitwise, and also helping educate all of those who have been on the line, who come to learn about whether this is a wonderful opportunity for themselves and whether they should join it. And so, thank you again so much for that. To all of the wonderful people in the back who make the magic happen, we appreciate you. For all of those of you who are joining us today, thank you again so much. Please reach out for any questions. And always, always remember, folks, that no one belongs here more than you. Thanks, pals. Have a great day.